Okay, so we will only do one of these problems where you write it as a product of n linear factors once on the quiz tomorrow. We will write it in the appropriate factored form on every other problem. So this is definitely, the appropriate factors is definitely our goal. We will do this once just to prove, yes, we understand the concept, but you're going to find that this isn't all that helpful. All right, so here we go. Let's do the fundamental theorem of algebra first and relate it to graphing. So I want you to make a list of all real roots versus non-real roots, and then we're going to get a possible graph for each. So for a quartic function, what's the degree? 4. And the fundamental theorem of algebra tells us we're going to have how many roots? 4. All right, so question. Can you have 4 reals and 0 non-reals? Is that possible? Yes. Vaughn said yes immediately. Are we okay? Can you have 3 reals then and 1 non-real? Because I've got to have a total of 4. No. But that adds up to 4. Yeah, you cannot have 1 non-real root. Non-real roots come in pairs. So this is not possible. Okay, I wrote it but realized it was a no-go. Can you have 2 and 2? Yes. Yes, that is possible. Are we okay? So I'm just going down the list. Can you have 1 and 3? No. Okay. Again, you cannot have an odd number of non-real roots. Can you have 0 reals and 4 non-reals? Yes, you can. Okay. So your options are, guys, you can list every possibility and mark out the ones that are no-goes like I did, or you can just write down the 3 good possibilities. I'll let you decide what you think you're going to be better at. Okay. Is everybody good? Now, let's do an example graph. So all I'm going to draw is the x-axis because I don't really, I'm like not doing a specific enough graph to care exactly where it hits the x-axis in relation to the y-axis. I also don't want you to get hung up on this. If I've got 4 real roots, it might be 4 singles. It might be 2 singles and 1 double. It might be 2 doubles. It might be 1 single and a triple. Don't worry about all that. We're not getting that far into this. So just pick. Do you want a single and a triple? Do you want 2 doubles? Do you want 4 singles? What do you want? Just pick one.
4 singles.
4 singles. That keeps it vanilla and fast. All right, the next thing you should pick. Do you want the ends up or do you want the ends down? Up. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm done. Woohoo! That's it. Okay. I can see 1, 2, 3, 4 singles. Okay. I can count 1, 2, 3, 4 until it's a quartic and I'm out. So this should be an extremely fast problem. Like I think you ought to be able to do this in about a minute or less. All right. Don't belabor the easy stuff. Save time for the harder problems. So now, can you have a graph? Can you show a graph with 2 reals and 2 non-reals? So if you've got 2 reals, you just have to decide, do I want 2 singles or do I want 1 double? Just pick. It doesn't matter.
1 double. 1 double.
I've got 2 people saying 1 double.
1 double. 1 double.
Now I've got multiple saying 1 double. Okay, so we've decided on 1 double. Do you want up or do you want down?
Down.
You don't want a bad mood. So 1, 2. Now try again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Will that do it? No. Okay. Try again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Will that do it? Yeah. Okay. So in all of them, I had quartics, but I wasn't getting my double root right. Are you with me? Now I've got it. So I can count 1, 2, 3, 4 and see it's a quartic, and I see 1 double root exactly. Is everybody okay? All right. So now, how would you draw a quartic function with no real roots?
It'd have to be all below or above. It'd have to be above the x-axis pointed upwards or below the x-axis pointed downwards.
So what do y'all want to do?
Below pointed down.
Below pointing down. What's it going to look like if it's below and pointing down? An M. Yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm still not exhausting all the possibilities. I'm just giving you one possibility for each. So how fast should this be? In and done. 1 minute max. Are we okay? Is everybody with me? So make it all singles if you want to keep it the most vanilla and fast. If you want to throw in triple roots because they're fun, but be my guest. You just need one of each. Are we cool? So can you do this problem? I'm going to give you a couple of laps around the classroom as I hand out papers. And you're going to knock this out. Does somebody already have a possibility mapped out?
Yeah.
Oh my. Is there anybody that would be willing to put up one possibility that you found that works? Who just found it? All right, go for it.
Like draw it on the.
Leave room for your comrades. Ooh. See how neat your old handwriting is on the board. So I am giving back the papers I finally got graded for extra credit. I told you I was going to be doing it. But I finally managed to get them done. So 7 and 0, so that's possible. That adds up to 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I agree. So has anybody found a different option? All right. Sarah Kate, would you mind doing it? Would you put one on the board? Who feels confident enough to say that no matter which one Sarah Kate puts up, you feel like you could put up a different one? Is there anybody that feels like they could? All right, Drew, would you mind going after Sarah Kate then? Or is there a third one? I didn't even ask that. Is there a third possibility? How many possibilities do you think there are? 4. Okay, that's good. Several of you answered the same thing. That means I'll probably trust that. Oh, oops. I'm just trying to sort this stuff in this pile. Richard, you must not have given me that. Was in the day that you guys already or something. But I needed this back. And one was not with us. Oh, Sarah Kate, you got fancy with the triple root. Oh. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 1 triple root. Yes, I checked yours. Woo! Sarah gets the fancy award for the day.
No, listen. Yeah, that's it.
And y'all can write with your fingers on the board. But when I first got the board, I wrote with my finger all the time, and I kept rubbing the skin off the tip of my finger. And finally decided that I was tired of my finger hurting all weekend. So I started writing with the stylus. The woes of a math teacher. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That makes sense. 5 and 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got you. So y'all said there was a fourth option? Can somebody put it up? All right, you'll do it later.
Where's the pen?
See, oh. And I followed you as you went, so I see 7 and 1 and 6. Yeah, I see 1. Good. How do y'all feel about this, guys? You feel okay? Awesome. We're going to the next thing. So we have got a few different problems that we're going to do. So on this one, I want you to write it as a product of n linear factors. How many times are we going to do this on the quiz tomorrow? 1. So everything before the final answer is extremely good review. The final answer, though, is like, but I'll only ask you to do it once. But everything leading up to that's good. So I'll put the final answer in yellow. Everything that happens in green is good. Go. It's good review. Okay. So guys, what's the first thing that we do when we're trying to work with any polynomial? Is there one?
Yes.
Tell me.
-2.
Get it. Can y'all get that step on your own? We'll start seeing if we can knock down individual steps, compare, and then move on. I've double checked my work. I think it's right. Did y'all get the same thing?
Yes.
Now what should you do after the GCF? Does it?
Yes.
All right, if this thing factors by grouping, go. Get it. Can you get it factored? So we are working on building speed and recognition right now, so that tomorrow you'll feel like you glide through things, so that you don't get hampered with a lot of fits and starts, you know? How is your factoring? Are we okay? The last thing we should do is factor x squared plus 12. Does it factor? No, okay? So guys, this right here is the appropriate factors. Just FYI. So everything we've done to this point is a really good review. We normally stop factoring here. There is no more to factor. We say our factoring is finished right there. That's normal. So we're going to keep proceeding with normal, and then I'm going to go into the final yellow step, which I'll ask you once and only once tomorrow, because I don't want you going overboard. Normally, after we find the roots, or after we find the factors, we're going to name where our roots are, yes? So what is one place that you have a root for sure? At x equals 1? Do you know what to do to find the roots that come from x squared plus 12? They're going to be messy. All right, so wait a minute. X equals plus or minus the square root of?
Or it would be, sorry, 2, 3.
Okay, so you said 2 square root 3? Yeah. Are we okay? You good? Now, all of that is really good review. Guys, if your roots are non-real, I won't ask you to graph it. All right, if the roots are non-real, no graph. If the roots are real, I will ask you to graph it. I won't ask you to do everything on every problem, or you'd never finish the quiz. So you'll have some that require little work and some require more work. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to fulfill the directions. You'll do this once and only once on tomorrow's quiz. All the green stuff you'll do multiple times on tomorrow's quiz. But I'm going to say, okay, let's write this as a sequence of 3 linear, a product of 3 linear factors. So I've got -2. That's not linear, that's numerical. So that doesn't count as one of your linear factors. X minus 1 does count as a linear factor. You understand why? Because it's got an X to the first in it. So now, do you see that if 2 square root 3i is a root, I could say then the corresponding factor is 2 minus X minus 2 square root 3i. So what's your last linear factor? All right, here's my question. We just showed it could be done. Does it do anything for us? No. So how many times will I ask you to do this on tomorrow's quiz? Okay, keep that in mind because that last step is, to me, unproductive. We've shown we could do it. It doesn't do us any good, so I'm not going to emphasize it by any stretch. The green stuff's good review, though.
If it's unproductive, why are we, will we use it later down the road? Is that?
It's just a theorem that I'm demonstrating that they expect you to know, but like I don't think it's a particularly useful theorem.
Okay, so we're not going to like use it later for like a big.
No, that's why one problem we're out. It's just not that big a deal. Not all the green stuff is good review. From that standpoint, it's good. I'm going to come back to this one. I want to hit the other ones and we'll come back if I can get the screen to turn. Come on. Oh, there it went. I'm coming back to that one because that's a longer problem. Let's do this, these couple of problems here because I want to show you different varieties and then I'll come back to that gargantuan problem with you. Are we okay? Now, we did a little of this earlier. We're going to write equations for polynomial functions if we know the roots of the polynomial. So I need, if I'm going to write an equation, I need an equal sign, number 1. And I need a function name over here. If I don't name it, you get to. What do you want to call it? F of X. It's vanilla, but completely workable. Now, you're like, I'm not going to answer if you're going to keep telling me I'm vanilla. All right, guys. What factor would indicate that you got 0 as a single root?
X.
What factor would indicate that -1's a double root?
X plus 1.
Woo, y'all are hot to trot. What about 2 as a triple?
X minus 2.
Now, this isn't the equation, it's a possible equation. How could you write infinitely many equations that are correct? Yeah? Huh? Oh, what leading coefficient do we want? This is your chance. You can do it.
236.
Woo! Goodness. You have grown from being vanilla. There we go. That's like going to Brewster's and ordering vanilla ice cream. You just don't do that at Brewster's. There's just too many options. So, woo! He's grown. You've matured. I'm so proud of you. All right. That's like deciding that you're going to ride the wild eagle instead of the old-fashioned cars. You know, you just grew. They are pretty fun, I know. So, especially if you've got a car that has horns working, right? If the horn's not working, it's not very much fun. All right, guys, here we go. We're growing in difficulty level. So on the, I better do this because I'm going to need some room, I'm afraid. Now, I need a function name. Pick one. G of X. All right, so we're going to do the same thing. You get to pick your leading coefficient. 500. All right, 542. I'll use both. Whew, those are going to be tall little polynomials. Now, what factor will tell you -3 is a double root? Y'all are cooking. What factor tells you 4/3 is a single root? There you go. Now, here's where we get to what we've been talking about. Do you ever get -2i by itself? So what else do you know you're going to get? 2i. Now, second question. What kind of factor produces messy answers? Messy answers have i's or radicals or both. Quadratic factors, okay? So I need to say, now wait a minute, if I get answers like plus or minus 2i when I solve an equation, what quadratic equation was I solving? So if you want to go from something linear to quadratic, what do? Square both sides. So if I'm going to square the left, I'm going to square the right. So x squared, now it doesn't matter whether I square a positive or a negative, it turns out positive 4i squared. But wait, what's 4i squared the same as? Now if x squared equals negative 4, what equation must you have you been solving?
X squared plus 4.
You must have come from x squared plus 4 equals 0. And that's your last factor, x squared plus 4. So we're working backward. We're taking our two weird roots and we're working backward and figuring out what the quadratic equation must have been. Are you all with me? Does that make sense? Guess how I write your tests? I decide what I want your roots to be and I work backward and then I multiply all this stuff out and say, here, do it. I mean, that's exactly what I do, right? So I decide how pretty or how messy I want the different roots on the different problems to be and I throw them at you that way. Oh, this is our last one of these. Are you ready? It's your lucky day. You get to pick the name of your function.
W of x.
W of x. What? There we go. Hopefully that's not the way you're going to feel about this kind of a problem. I don't think this one should be a real time-consuming kind of problem either. So guys, on the quizzes, I don't structure them to get harder and harder and harder and harder. I might say, oh, medium, 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 whoa, a hard one, but then I might follow it by an easy one, and then a medium, and then an easy one, then another hard one, so that you kind of get mental breaks as you bounce your way through the quiz. So just keep that in mind. Don't expect that they get harder every time if they don't. So you get to pick your leading coefficient. I'll at least make it -1, right? So guys, I'm going to be a wimp. What kind of factor gives you 1 as a triple root? Yeah. So I'm being a wimp because all of a sudden, hey, do you know what the degree of this polynomial is? 7. Because if 1 plus the square root of 2 is an answer, what do you also know you're going to get? Yeah, so that gives you 2 roots there. If 3 plus 4i is a root, 3 minus 4i is another root, right? So I've got one quadratic factor that produced those 2 messy roots, and I've got one quadratic factor that produced those 2 messy roots. Are you with me? Now let me show you how this works. So I'm going to say if x equals 1 plus or minus the square root of 2. Are you with me? We need to work our way backward to the quadratic equation. Are you with me? That's going to require me to square both sides. Okay, guys, it is easier to square. Oh, Jonathan, are you raising your hand or stretching? Okay, I'm going to assume that stretching, not asking a question. I think that's what that was. Yeah, did I interpret your sign language correctly? Yeah. Woohoo! So Jonathan looks like an angel with that bright light coming in behind him, doesn't he? All right, so when you look at this, guys, now if you pull the 1 over, it's far easier. If you'll isolate the plus or minus number, it's far easier to square both sides. Otherwise, you'll get yourself in some kind of a endless mess and go, woo-hoo! It's easier to do it this way. Hey, I know how to square x minus 1 like super duper fast. Do you? Plus 1? So what is plus or minus the square root of 2 squared? 2. Yeah. So wait a minute. That gives me a longer quadratic. That's giving me that quadratic equation. Are you with me? Does that make sense? So I'm going to have x squared minus 2x minus 1 as my middle factor. Can you get the last quadratic factor? It's going to be x squared, blah, 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 blah. Can you figure out what goes there? Do you know how to use these 2 roots? Does it make sense to you what to do? You want me to guide you through it or leave you alone? Leave you alone? Go for it. I like it when you say leave me alone. I mean, not in a hateful way, but I like it when you say I think I can do it. Uh-oh. Y'all better wear comfortable shoes the rest of this week. Y'all gonna be on your feet quite a bit on Friday. Can you handle that? No more talking for me. I know that's just gonna crush your old spirits right there. So do we know where Emma is today, Higgins, that is? She's sick. Okay. Yeah, Jonathan is not feeling all that well either, so his mom was taking extra precautions. But we've got angelic Jonathan there, participating from afar, from heaven. All right. Did anybody get this? Anybody got the guts to throw it out there? The worst that can happen is if you mess it up, we'll fix it. Yeah, what do you think, Allie? Your hand went up right fast.
X squared minus 6x plus 13.
Plus 13?
Yeah.
No.
You don't,
I
what did you say?
got plus 25.
Yeah, that's what I got.
I got plus 19.
All right, let's check it out. We're getting some different things. All right, so y'all did that, right? You can tell this is the South because I don't think people in the North said y'all did that, right? Because that sounded about as country as you could get. Hey, y'all know where I grew up, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe I. Where do you think I grew up?
Georgia.
No.
Sure.
Wyoming.
You want to hear an ugly joke?
Yeah.
You know how you can tell if an Alabama boy has a girlfriend? He's got tobacco spit running down both sides of his pickup truck. Oh, that was bad, wasn't it? Okay, did you all, that was just darn ugly, but you know. Substitute in the word heritage. No, I'm kidding. Totally kidding. So, do y'all understand where 16I squared came from?
Yeah.
Yes.
Are you okay? So that would be negative 16. Huh? All right. So did anybody accidentally leave it 4I squared? Because sometimes that happens. All right. So which way is that going to go now? If you add the 16 over, oh, does that give you 25? So that is not an uncommon, put a 13 there. I've heard that more than once. Are we all right? Guys, worst thing that can happen, you try something, we help you fix it. The best thing that can happen is you got it. Everything's good. Are we all right? All right, so here's my question. This is my favorite problem, so we're going to do it before we back up. I have got this posted online just in case you want to look. But look at the problem and tell me, what am I going to do if, number one, I know there are 4 solutions and I'm giving you one of them? How can you use the one to find the other 3?
You already know an extra one.
Okay. So I do know that x equals negative 1 plus 5i is one of them. What's an extra one you know? Guys, that gives you right there, that gives you a point of partial credit. We've still got to find 2 more though, right? Okay, so that'll be our final answer. Now, you're saying long division. What are you going to long divide by?
Whatever factor you get for negative 1 plus 5i.
You think that I've got to find the factor that produces that root? That's what we were just practicing, wasn't it? So that's step 1. Nice. Negative 1 plus or minus 5i. I'm going to hit it with x plus 1 equals plus or minus 5i. What now? squared. I'm getting 25i squared. Are you all? What's 25i squared the same as? So x squared plus 2x plus 1 equals negative 25. So what's your equation you must have been solving? All right. So now you said do long division now. So step 2 you're saying is a long division step? Yes. Yeah. We know that if these two are roots, then the factor that they stem from must divide evenly into the original polynomial. And we've got no choice but to do long division. What a nice review of long division. See why I like this problem? It ties together all kinds of things that we've studied. Do you want me to talk you through it or just be quiet and let you go for it? You got it. So this has been new, but it's also been a lot review to help you with tomorrow's quiz. Guys, you can do tomorrow's quiz and you can do an excellent job, I promise. This is typically where I see students turn the corner. On your long division, if it doesn't turn out remainder 0, you've made a mistake somewhere. So it could be that you've just miscopied from one step to another, dropped the sign by
Good
accident.
afternoon, Maryville High School seniors. Remember that it's Alcoa Week, which means it's time to spray paint some senior signs for the
Y'all
pep
see
rally
that
this
this does
Friday.
not factor?
Meet behind the library after school tomorrow to help out. We need you and your friends to make this happen, so come out tomorrow afternoon. The ASVAB will be given at Maryville High School on September 15th, beginning at 8:25. Students who are interested can sign up on our website under announcements. The deadline to sign up is September 9th. Please contact your school counselor with any questions. The ACT opt-out for seniors was September 8th. You had to have a 29.
Hey guys, all of this is posted online already.
And one more thing. And I think that is it. Have a great afternoon. You're all dismissed.
Bye guys. I'm here tomorrow morning. I'll see you. Hey, digital guys, I want to remind you about today's help session. But right now, let me boot you out and then open the Zoom room again. Are y'all okay with that? So if you want to come right back in, just give me a minute so I can get this video going. Okay? So I'll shut down and be right back up in like 60 seconds. Cool? Oh, good. Did it work out that time?
Yeah.
Good deal.